All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. So here we are. iBug. It's iBug's Life, and today is September 29th, and we're talking about everything in the kitchen sink. And so we're going around and doing introductions. So Miss Debbie said she wants to learn about the bolts on her toilet. Okay. Who's next? Say who you are, where you're from, and what you wish you could fix in your house.
Janet from Colorado, and I'll let my husband fix things around the house.
All right. I like that answer.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Go ahead. Next.
Heather.
Heather.
Well, I currently have a hanging wall cabinet display with things in it, and the bottom shelf broke this summer
Oh,
and
dear.
really shocked me because the glass went everywhere and I wasn't anywhere near it. And I would love to know how to fix it, but I think I'm going to leave it to the caretaker in my building because I think it's going to be complicated.
Okay, thank you. And she's from Montreal. All right, keep going. Who's next?
Yep,
Who you are? Where are you
sorry.
from? Who's next?
Dana from Cincinnati,
Uh huh.
and I'm currently lost. Yeah,
You're lost.
I'm lost,
Okay.
and I know everything.
Oh
So
wow, wonderful. Okay, thank you,
Use your
Dana.
compass.
Yes. All right, next. Who's next?
This is Jody in New Hampshire.
Uh huh. Welcome.
Hi, Sandia. I'd like to
Well-
be able to drain in my bathroom sink. I want Dana to come over to my house.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Jody. Who's next?
Louise from New Rochelle. Hi, I have been on in a while.
Yeah. Hey there.
Hi.
How are you? Missed you.
Okay. Let's see. I think I would like to fix. I really don't know. I don't know. I leave stuff up to Barry, really. So.
All right.
Barry.
Another
Okay,
good
Barry.
answer,
I'm
Barry.
on. Yeah, I'm on here too.
Hey,
and,
Barry. What do
hi.
you want to fix?
We've got a bathroom sink drain that it's stubborn, and I'm trying a few things, and I don't want to use the harsh pipe cleaners if I can help it.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Barry. Glad to hear you both. We are glad you're back. Okay. Who's next?
This is Dan from Southern California.
Yes,
I
sir.
would, I would like to learn how to fix my mind. No, serious. I'd like to learn how to fix my bathroom door.
Bathroom door. Okay, yeah. Mind is beyond the scope of this class. Thank you, Dan. All right. Who's next?
This is Ralphine from Southern Illinois. That's what I
Hey.
call myself when I do my man chores.
Okay, Ralph. You're so funny. What can you fix?
What can I fix?
Or what do you want to learn how to fix? Sorry, that's the question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you
Well, I'm
know
having
everything.
trouble with a door lock, but that's not in the toilet room.
Okay, that's good. That's good. It's not in the toilet. That's always a good thing. Okay. Okay, who's next? Anybody else want to say hi?
This is Ned.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Ned.
Yes, this is Ned from Texas. I did not inherit the fix-it gene from my father or mother. And so when I was a homeowner, I had to have a handyman come and do things
Uh-huh.
around the
Okay.
yard and the house and the garage and stuff. And now that I live in an apartment, I simply call maintenance.
Oh, what a beautiful idea. Okay.
Give me that phone number.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's all call maintenance. Thank you, Ned. All right, who's next?
This is Vincent in New Jersey.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Any tips that to keep my pipes clean, sink, bathrooms are
All right.
very
we have
welcome.
A lot of pipe problems. Okay, thank you, Vincent. Okay, who's next?
Hi, it's Angela from Toronto.
Hey, how are
Long
you?
time.
Long time. Good to have.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so same thing, me with drains. I need helping when clearing that because they get clogged really easily. And yeah, I think that was it.
Okay, well, glad you're here. We're so happy to hear your voice, Angela. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right, keep going. Who else? Anybody else? Go ahead. Sigh.
Oh, that was me. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ed.
I when I was on mute there, I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I ended up with all kinds of options, and I had to go off and shut it down and come back in, and
Well, you're here now, Ed.
I'm here now.
Okay.
Something that I would want to learn how to do.
Hang
I don't know.
blinds. You want to hang blinds, right?
I don't know. Maybe use my TV remote properly. That would be. That would be maybe what, or actually use my iPad normally.
Also, beyond the scope of this call. Okay, keep going. Who's next? Thank you, Ed. Who else? Jim? Yeah, I know you're out there, Jim. Go ahead.
Yes, well, since you call my name, I guess I need to say something.
Yeah, you got to. I put you on the spot.
I'm in North Carolina, and one time I was talking to an engineer friend of mine, and he asked me what kind of water closets I had, and I did not know what he was talking about. Have you ever heard it called water closet?
Yes, water closet. It's a British thing. WC. They don't even write bathroom. They write WC. We thought it meant wheelchair.
Oh boy.
All
Anyway, yeah, I've got fairly new water closets. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jim. Who's next? Anybody else? Nobody else? Okay. Well, I'm Cynthia in Houston. I would say the drain thing because it's kind of gross when it doesn't work properly. So
Yes.
that's something I would like to learn. Okay. Anybody else didn't get a chance? And let's see, George, how are we doing, George?
This is Jody.
Oh, Jody, go ahead. Yep.
Well, I was just going to say, we're all having these drain problems. The only one that ever really did something about it was Dana. So I think he should teach us all how to clean our drains.
Yeah, right. We might have to call on him pretty soon.
Maybe his
Okay.
name is Drano instead of Dana.
I really admire him doing that. I really do.
Yeah. All right. George, are you ready to go?
Not yet.
Still 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay.
5 minutes?
Well.
Yeah, I was talking on the phone.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. George is in.
She's already on her way out.
So, Mr. McCulloch, what do you know how to fix? You're there. Since we're calling people out.
Michael in Texas.
Yes, sir.
What do I want to learn how to fix?
Yes, other than your mind, like Ned. I mean, Dana. I mean, who was that? Dan.
Maybe fix better mixed drinks.
Oh, come on. What do you want to fix? You already know how to fix stuff?
I like that one.
Are you already a fixer? I mean, if you already are used to it, then it's not a big deal. See?
Well, I mean, I learned how early on, but I had to adapt to learn how to do it the blind way.
Yeah.
That'd be a mixer, not a fixer.
Well, see, that brings up a good point. I mean, some people were able to do these things when they were sighted, and then now they have to learn to do them, like Michael said, blind or without sight. So that's important. That's kind of hard. So, well, we could talk about where you got people who did know how to do this stuff. Was there something that you eventually tried and were like intimidated, and then you did? I know totally blind people that light their pilot lights and stuff like that, which just scares me to death. But is there anybody that want to talk about that? Like something they did that they never thought they'd do as a blind person, fixing stuff? Anything like that? Mr. McCulloch, did you never do
This is
anything?
Jody.
Oh, Jody, go ahead.
Yeah, I live in an apartment in my daughter's house, and I ask her to do things, and she's like, I'll do it, I'll get around to it. So I kind of figure, okay, fine, I'll do it myself. But I put a shelf up in my closet.
Wow.
And I'm not quite sure if it's completely level. I use my phone there's a level that you can get for your phone.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Make this iPhone related. And so, I tried that. So I think it's level and it works. So
Nothing's fallen off
that's
of it,
something I did
right,
myself.
Jody? Nothing's fallen off.
Yeah, nothing's falling off.
So-
And the shelf hasn't fallen off yet.
yeah,
either.
that's good. Those are all good signs. Sounds good.
She
to
can
me.
help me fix my shelf.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right, anybody?
Dana.
Dana, go ahead.
Yeah, I really don't know everything.
I know
I-
that. We
yeah,
all
gee,
know that,
thanks.
Dana.
Yeah, gee, thanks. No, but I several weeks, couple months ago, I unclogged the drain in my bathroom.
Wow.
And it took a long time to do. I took apart the pipes under the
Oh,
sink
my.
with a lot of cussing went on. It was draining really slow, and I took it apart, and I thought, hey, I could do this, And after I did all the cussing and banging my head and stuff like that, and put it all back together again, no parts left over. It works great.
Really? You didn't
Yep.
have to call sometimes my dad will my dad's 92 now, but he'll just still try to fix stuff, and then we end up, he's done things all his life. He's always repaired things, but
Yeah.
it'll get to the point and he tries it, and he's like, okay, we got to call a real plumber now.
Yeah.
So, well, that's
Well,
great.
it helps that my dad, he was a carpenter, and he fixed everything in the house when I was growing up. So I kind of watched him do stuff.
Okay.
And so I thought, hey, I can do this, But like I said, it took a really long time, and I thought, I shouldn't have started this, but I finished it, and I was soaked and smelly, and
Yeah. Okay. I think we got the picture there,
Yeah.
Dana. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else?
I think
Yeah.
Dana should learn how to play bagpipes.
He already knows how to play the harmonica. Oh, bagpipes. Ha ha ha. Okay.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else got a story for us? Anything that they fixed?
This is Julie.
Julie, go ahead, Julie.
Yes. I just have to say that I've had drain problems here in my place, and what I do is put vinegar and baking soda in the drain. It will bubble up, and then you follow that with very hot boiling water, and it'll just flush the whole drain out.
Oh, that's natural too. It's not harsh, right?
Right. And what it said is you put a little bit of salt. I don't know what the salt does, but I just go ahead and sprinkle salt in it.
Uh-huh.
Vinegar and baking soda in the drain, and it will bubble up.
Uh-huh.
And then just follow that with very hot boiling water. And if you have to do it twice, that's okay. But it's all natural, no chemical stuff, and it's cheap to make. Does the job.
You
That's
make a volcano in your
fantastic.
pipes.
What is that mixture again? Salt, baking soda, and vinegar.
Vinegar. Yes, white vinegar. Yes, it's cheap.
And I've taken sinks apart before, and especially in a bathroom sink,
Yes,
you'll
that's the
find if
worst.
the sink has been there for a while, soap will build up in the bottom,
Yes.
like it'll literally fill up your
It's a
pipes,
soap
and that's what that stuff's doing. It's boiling that soap out.
Yes, it's soap
And-
scum. It's gross. I know. But
Yeah,
the-
oh yeah, and
the
it'll
baking-
literally fill the pipe right up.
But the baking soda and vinegar just flushes that out, and you have to follow it with boiling water.
Yeah,
Into
what a
the
great
sink.
idea.
Into
Yes,
the sink.
straight into the drain. Yeah, and if you need to repeat it, so be it. It's still cheap to do, though. I've done it in my kitchen sink, and they don't even smell bad anymore. The sinks, it smells
Wow.
good.
Hey, we're all
Yeah,
gonna.
in the bathroom and the shower as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I like really long hair, and that's another gross thing. So I know I've looked for tools to like, like, this is part of cleaning drains, right? So like, let's get real, right? So there's always, I'm always shedding hair, so there's gonna be a.
We had an it's Heather.
Okay, Heather, go.
I had an incident with a blocked drain, and I managed to get it unplugged, but it was a real mess because all the stuff came out, and it was a real mess to clean up in the sink after.
Ah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else? Stories about?
This is
Go ahead,
Vincent.
Vincent.
A couple of things. I never wash a dish or a pan that has oil in it. I always clean it and never use hot water if there's any dish that has oil, because the oil will then harden at the bottom of the sink. And yes, the white vinegar and the baking soda, that's what I have found that works. Or the plunger, sometimes if they are heavy objects. I have used the plunger when for some reason, sometimes my wife forgets to wear gloves when she's doing the gardening, and she doesn't wash her hands outside, and she will come into the sink and wash her hands there. And a couple of times the vinegar didn't work. I had to use the plunger. I probably didn't get all the dirt out, but I got quite a bit out. Yes, the sink was a mess, but it was able to to drain somewhat. So, and I also use. We're not allowed to have what do you call that? The food grinders.
Yeah, disposal. Yeah.
So what I did is I replaced the trap that I have there. I have two of them. I got one that is sort of a metal net. So most of the particles get stuck in there. The finer ones will still go through, but otherwise larger ones will stick in there. And I have a second one on top with larger holes, because it's easier. I clean up first. The first one traps the bigger items. I can clean it up, and then the second one I just clean around in around the second one before lifting it, empty it, and that has helped me. It has minimized the amount of unclogging that I have to do.
Wow. At first I thought you said crap, but then I realized you said trap. So okay, got
Trap.
it. Thank you, Vincent.
No, I haven't had that other part in the sink. Elsewhere, yes, but not in the sink.
Not in the sink. Okay. All right.
And one last thing is that, and I don't know if it has to do with how old the houses are, the type of pipes that they have, but we stopped using the regular, the heavy toilet paper. We use a single sheet. Yes, you have to use more, but it dissolves when you flush. Otherwise, it can get trapped eventually in your pipes. I know that that happened to me, and I had to call Roto-Rooter at one time, and they, along with that, they took a picture of my pipes going out towards the main drain in the street, and they found that there were roots from the neighbor trees, that had pierced through the pipe in there. And they told us, eventually you will have to pay a few, probably like $15,000 or something like that, to replace the pipes, because you have to go on, go all the way to the street. But in the meantime, using the single sheet toilet paper has helped tremendously, especially when I have grandchildren, and they tend to use a lot of toilet paper. And that's what actually created the problem on, of course, of all days, on Thanksgiving Day.
Walking up my steps, so give me about 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, we're learning all kinds.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
Question for Vincent.
What?
I have a question for Vincent. Did he say he uses a single sheet of toilet paper when he wipes?
No, I don't think that's what he meant.
No, I use several.
That's really okay. That's enough.
I think it's single ply.
Single ply.
Single ply.
That's what he meant.
TMI, TMI.
But really, that's a really good. I never thought about that. I mean, the ply of the because we used to have my when my brother's kids would come over, they'd always clog up our toilet. We're like, oh God, they're gonna do it again. So they just had their own plunger. Yeah.
This is Ned.
Yeah,
My
go
my
ahead.
brother and his wife live and they have up in Michigan, and they have a septic tank,
Uh-huh.
and they have to use single ply because every 2 years they got to have the septic tank, emptied out.
Oh, that sounds like
Yeah.
fun.
I know.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah. Well, bring anybody else? Oh, single ply toilet paper. I didn't know about the oil thing. I mean, I know, like, I didn't know just because we use the, my mom cooks a lot, we oil, so you should not put any kind of oil in your sink at all. Okay. How many people have put things in their disposal, like spoons and all that, or rice? I have dumped rice in my disposal and ended up with a very large mess, so that was not good. So,
I think the biggest problem I have is I have very long hair.
Uh-huh.
And that's really bad for bathroom drains.
Yes, yes, that's what I was just talking about. What do you do?
I've got a little tool that's a plastic, looks like kind of like a pine cone on the end.
A pine cone? It looks like a pine cone?
Well, it has little bristles that aim towards the back, so you can slip it down into the drain.
Uh-huh.
It'll catch onto all that long hair, and you just sort of work it back up.
Oh,
It's just a little plastic tool, and I don't know what they call it, but that's what I use because, we can't afford a plumber just because I don't cut my hair very often.
Right. Same here. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
This is Jody.
Jody, go ahead.
Yeah, a friend of mine has one of those. It's called a sink snake. But I don't know, and she said it wasn't very expensive. It was like
I think
$2
I've
or
ordered
something.
one of. They're like 11 or I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Sink snake. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think they say that 3 times fast.
Hang on, Janet, go.
QVC.com sells us a sink snake.
Okay.
And you can either dispose of the end of it that you've used to get your hair out and all that gunk out of the drain, or you can just wash it off. You can replace them.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. We had a drain disaster in my room. It's kind of the same thing, and my poor sister had to help us, and she pulled it out, and there was so much hoopla, and she's like very dramatic. It was very dramatic, but
my father-in-law had rented his house when he was abroad, and when he got back, the shower wouldn't drain, and so he took it the drain cover off, the strainer part off, and he got a tool down in there, and he was hauling out this thing, and he said it looked like a dead fish that was like 8 inches of silver and black gunk.
Oh yeah, my sister was a little more graphic. She goes, "I had a baby." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." And then she was like, "I know, my sister's a character." Okay, all right. Anybody else want to share before we get started? This is all helpful information, actually, really. So we've learned some things. Dee, what have you learned? Anything you want to share? No.
I used to go to morning meetings where we used to make bring your own coffee and things like that. And one of the persons was sharing about, I was talking about drains and sinks and stuff like that. And he said that he emptied his the grains from the coffee directly in the sink because the coffee grinds helped clean the sink.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that.
That used to be true probably 40, 50 years ago when we had different types of pipes, but not with modern pipes. If you do that with modern pipes today, it will clog you.
Oh, okay. Good.
Might
to
work on
know.
a garbage disposal, but
You don't.
pipes.
You
So
have
yeah,
you
just
have a lot of people down there use garbage disposals in their sinks because um when you're dumping all that stuff down in the sink, that goes down into the sewers and everything. And if you have a septic tank and you're dumping all that stuff in, that's bad for it. Like you're not
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah.
anything
No
like that.
kidding.
Like
This
that's
is
not a
deep.
great that's not a great thing
Uh-huh.
to put up there in there. Like
No.
they really frown on it up here when people talk about doing stuff like that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, there's a
storm.
lot
I
of
mean,
downside. Yeah.
gotta think about what you're putting into the drain because
Yeah.
it's gonna end up somewhere that we don't want it to end up. Okay, go
Yeah.
D.
Okay, I was gonna say, last year I learned how to use a water closet auger.
You did a what?
I learned how to use a water closet auger last year.
What is that?
Well, it's not exactly a snake, but it's similar. You stick it down there in your toilet and you twist and try to unblock clogs in your toilet.
Oh,
I had
okay.
to call, well, my stepson came and we plunged and couldn't get nothing done. So I finally said, okay, I'll call the septic man. Well, it was a Friday and he said, I am swamped up. And he says, but you might go get you a closet auger and run it through there. And he said, then you might be able to take care of it, not have to get any help. So we did that. Then my son showed me how to use it. So I've used it a time or two.
Okay, so the $1 million question is it 2-ply or 1-ply at your house?
That's personal.
Hello, everybody.
As far as garbage disposal, my God, that grinds that stuff up so fine. I don't see where, I use garbage disposal all the time. I wouldn't want to be without it.
All right, interesting. All
Hi,
right.
everybody. This is Erica.
Hey, Erica, welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
so we are sharing. George, how are we doing?
Oh, let me go do my do not disturb stuff. Hold on.
Okay, all right. So we are just sharing. Thank you guys for sharing what you have, because these are all helpful, like what you've actually done, what works. So I think we all remember the recipe that Julie told us, right? Vinegar. What else? Baking powder. Baking powder or baking soda?
Baking soda.
Soda. Okay, soda.
I want to say something about the how to clean the garbage disposal.
Sure, go
Baking
ahead.
soda. A big
Yeah.
baking soda.
Yeah, I know that's wonderful. It's really help a lot, even with the bad, odors.
Uh-huh.
But for cleaning, it's very good that you put cube of ice,
Uh-huh.
and salt and baking soda also, and then you just run it, and it really cleans. It keeps it so clean. You
Oh.
can put your hand inside, and you're gonna feel like how clean it is.
Wow. Okay, ice cube and salt and baking powder, baking soda. I
Baking
mean?
soda.
Baking
Okay.
soda. Yeah.
And vinegar. How many ice cubes should you use at a time?
Huh?
How many ice cubes should you use at a time?
Yeah. How many ice cubes, Erica? Do you remember?
No, you can use,
A
it's a good
handful.
yes.
Just don't stick your hand in there when it's running.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Not to
Why
put
not?
it. Yeah.
Oh no,
So the other question,
like
some people,
Mr.
my mom
McCulloch's drinks he's trying to mix.
mixer. My mom puts a lemon in the disposal. Is that
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
is that
That's
y'all do?
that's very good too.
Make it smells good.
Make
Yeah.
it smell
natural.
good.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
the thing they were saying about how to take out the hair.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't remember the name, but I remember I went to you can get it in the Family Dollar or
Uh-huh.
dollar store.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I told the lady, hey, I'm looking for a plastic. It's a long plastic that it looks like, the verts, like when you finish eating a fish.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
It looked like that. And she immediately knew what I was saying.
Okay.
But I don't remember the name, but.
Well, I'm gonna try to find the name of the thing that we talked about. So I'm gonna hand it over to George. George, you ready?
I am.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So here we go, George. Go for it.
Okay, how's my sound ticker? You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Am
You're
I
good.
coming through good? Okay,
Yeah.
let me sincerely apologize. I know most of you guys are on the East Coast and in Canada, but here in Houston, one of the fortunates of being the fourth largest city in the United States is that between 3:30, almost any time of the day, there's traffic. I actually been riding since about 4:15 p.m. Central Time, and what's it now? 6:35. So yeah, I've been
Wow.
riding actually for
Well,
2 hours,
Well,
and I'm still in Houston.
you're still well. You're here now. We have a good crowd, George. So we're all excited.
I
So
see that.
yeah.
I've enjoyed the chat. I mean, you guys have taught me some things. You know, done some things different. So I may have a little bit more to offer here, but you know, let's just dive right into this. I even have a funny story of my own to share in the midst of what all I'm going to be discussing. The future have to discuss about pipes and clogs and fixing stuff. Here's going to be the somewhat challenging thing about this particular topic. You know how usually when you're discussing things, or if you're teaching things, or especially doing it with some sort of an audience, usually things are for the most part universal, meaning it's going to be everything's going to be kind of the same way. For example, most kitchen stoves have 4 burners on top and an oven. That's pretty much universal. Most of your microwave ovens have a numeric keypad, like the telephone, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the bottom might be stop on one side, start on one side, and button in the middle with a popcorn button on the top left. Most spots have 2, left and right. Now, I said that because when we're talking about this particular topic, they're not universal for the most part. They got so many designs, so many different creative ideas people get with how they're going to set up a bathroom, how they're going to set up a kitchen, that that's what makes it challenging, because the way the thing may be set up. Even the toilet, not all toilets are the same. Yeah, basically all of them going to have a seat, of course. All of them, most of them will have a tank in the back. But if you go into like a public place, or if you got a super huge house, you may have what they call these pressure flushers, where you don't have a tank in the back. It just flushes that thing out, and all you have is a little skinny pipe in the back. So, but what I'm going to be discussing is some of the basic things that I have discovered, and some of the things that I have by trial and error, most of it, and some of it actually was taught on how to really either fix or unclog some stuff. So let's have some fun with this. And you guys already been having fun. I mean, I really enjoyed. You guys made my ride in the traffic not seem to be as long. Listen to the different stories that you guys have to share. So I want to thank you for providing me not only with some knowledge, but you also provided me with some entertainment. Loved it. So I'm going to first off talk about, and you guys already started the bathroom. We're going to start in there because, we're going to talk about basically how to unclog some stuff, how to maybe repair some stuff, how to really do some exploring. And for anybody who probably is, if this is your first time hearing me, my name is George. I live in Houston, Texas, same city that Michael lives in, same city that Sandia lives in. And I think that's all this here from Houston, I believe. And usually when you get into plumbing and pipe stuff, Michael will be familiar with this phrase. Sometimes you might want to say, Houston, we have a problem. If stuff starts happening that you didn't want to happen, or some unfortunate things take place. But unfortunately, you cannot call NASA engineers to come and fix it, because not only are they nowhere near your bathroom, but that if you have to call them, that'll be an expensive bill. One thing I will say And when you get to dealing with plumbing and things like this, be prepared to get your hands dirty. Yeah, I know a lot of ladies don't like to do that. They probably don't want to touch anything like that. Like I heard one lady, I do not remember who it was, when we was going around indicating what are some things we want to fix. She said, hey, that's what my husband for. I'll let him fix everything. I'm not doing none of that. So, but in the event, what I'm hopefully I will probably provide you with some stuff. In the event, maybe the husband is not around for a certain amount of time and you may need to get it done, or he might want to be back for a while. So maybe you may be a little adventurous. And then some of you might say, well, no, I'm gonna wait till he get it anyway. I'm just gonna make do until the person who know how to fix that can get the thing done. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be the husband. It can be, some wives or more of a fixer person than some men are. Now, so I would say, be prepared to get your hands dirty. And I always say, there's plenty of soap around. We got a lot of soap and water. So yeah, your hands might get dirty for a minute, but there's always a way of getting them clean. Or some people might want to use gloves. I tend to, for the most part, don't use gloves that much because I want to be able to feel everything clear. Sometimes that latex glove or that rubber glove may take away some of the sensitivity in my fingertips that I need to know exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to start off in the bathroom. And matter of fact, I think I will start off with the bathroom sink. Now, here's my funny story. When the National Federation of the Blind Convention was in Orlando, Florida one year, I was out there and I brought my daughter and my son with me. My son at the time was, how old was he? I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10, or whatever. And my daughter's one of those, she likes being in the bathroom, grooming herself. So yeah, she likes playing in her hair and use a lot of products. And I think sometimes they go down the drain. Well, in this particular time too, we also brought my George from the grill. Well, we actually grilled and cooked some things in the room as well to kind of like save off on costs. And don't worry, I know I need to get started, but this story is going to be pretty good. And so, like you guys were talking about, you got to be careful what you do with grease. So when we had grilled some burgers one time, and I, for whatever reason, decided to empty the grease tray down the bathroom sink. Now, didn't think much of it until the next day when I noticed when I was running water in the sink. I don't know if I was brushing my teeth or doing something to wash my hands, and I noticed the sink was filling up with water. And the stopper was not down, it was up. And I said, uh-oh, this thing is filling up with water. We didn't broke it. And at first, my initial thing was all them chemicals, all them hair products you use, she didn't clog up this sink. And here we're in this nice hotel. They're probably going to charge me extra for when they come to fix it. And they see that it was because we didn't clog up the pipes, that this is the reason why this thing is all stopped up. So, and then it's like 2, 3 in the morning as well. Probably wouldn't be nobody around to come and fix it. So I said, let me go ahead and try to fix this thing myself. Now, because I had some experience of not only exploring what it's like under the bathroom sink, but also a good friend of mine in Kansas City, who's one I give a lot of credit to, who's also totally blind, have no vision at all, who was more knowledgeable about fixing things, got his hand dirty, and he helped me to get my hands dirty. So I knew kind of exactly what to do. I opened up the cabinets underneath the sink, and they have an area of your pipes they call a U-joint. And they call it a U-joint because at the bottom, the way it is shaped, it's like the letter U. These pipes were plastic. They wasn't like those old iron or it's a G word that pipes used to be made up was a long time ago in the old houses, that you would probably need a pipe wrench to pull them apart. But the new plastic ones, like this hotel was modern, they're plastic, the things are not as tight. You actually can just either get a towel, or if your hands are strong enough, you can twist this little plastic ring that connects the U-joint or connects the pipes together and unloosen it. So I was able to take that loose. I did go and get a trash can, because you are going to need either a bucket or something that can hold a lot of water, because when you take this thing apart, there's water that's already sitting in there from, the many times that you may have used the sink. Yes, water's going to go down the drain, but some of it stays trapped up in this U-joint part. So if you look under your sink, you guys will see this too. I'm sure most of you probably have modern houses. You're going to see, a long pipe that goes from the sink down to the U-joint, come up on the other side, and then there's the other pipe that's going to go up into the wall, which deposit everywhere else down there. So when I took off this bottom part, which is the one little part that's probably about, I would say maybe 6 or 8 inches, but it's going to curve at the U, so it's not going to be 8 inches long. But if it was a straighten it out, it will be probably about 6 or 8 inches. At the bottom of this, when I got the U joint off the 2 pipes, and I allowed the water to empty into the little square trash can that was already in the room, since I didn't have a bucket, since I didn't think to pack a bucket to bring with me, didn't think I would need it. But so that little square trash can served as a bucket. I emptied the water out, and then I noticed there was this big blob that just happened to fall out also into the water. And when I reached in there, what I thought was her hair products that probably had caked it up was actually all of the grease from when we had grilled hamburgers that had built up into this grease tray, and it hardened when it was set in the water overnight. It was like a big old, probably about the size of a pool ball of just piled up just grease. So that's what was clogging up the drain. So I was going to blame her for stopping drink up with her hair products, when it was actually me who made a mistake and decided to empty all of the grease from the hamburgers and down the bathroom sink that clogged it up. So it wasn't her fault. It actually was my fault. But I was glad I was able to get that fixed without having to call down to the front desk for them to call maintenance to get this thing fixed. And then when they discovered it, probably would blame me for it and may want to probably add some kind of charge for other services that were probably not a part of it. But that's what you can do to pretty much unclog your bathroom sink. If you find that your sink is water not going down as fast as it should, yes, you can probably take your plunger and plunge your sink. And I'm sure everybody knows how to plunge, but in case you may have somebody who does not know how to plunge or even know what a plunger is basically something used to unclog drains and also unclog toilets, and even a bathtub. It has like a little rubber round disc type thing that you will put over the hole, and they usually have like a wooden stick or a hard plastic stick or something like that. It all depends on how fancy of a plunger you will get. And you would just basically, it works better to me if you have water already in the sink. So if the water's not going down, if it gets stuck in there, the plunger should work well. Or if the water has gone all the way down, you still need to do some plunging. I would say fill it up or turn on the water to get enough in there and then plunge that way. And that way, this pressure, because you're pressing down and also you're pulling up. And by you pulling up, it's kind of sucking up whatever's in that drain to either come up so that you can free the water to go down like it should, or by you pressing down, it's probably going to, with that force, shove it down the pipes more to dispose of it where it needs to go down the main drain and into wherever it goes after it leaves your house or leave your bathroom. I would also warn everyone too that I do not have proper technical names of certain things that I'm going to be discussing. I might tell you what it's shaped like, what it looks like, but what the thing is actually called, that's beyond me because I'm not a plumber. I don't desire or aspire to be one because it's a nasty job. Some people like to do it. Yes, they probably do pay good money, but it's not for me. There are some drains I know I do probably would not want to be around. But the way to is again to loosen that U joint. You will have like 2 of these rings. They may be about, I will say about maybe 4 inches from the base of your sink, maybe 2 inches. It all depends on how big of a sink you have. But if you go fill the base of your sink and find the pipe and go down the pipe a few inches, you will feel the connection. And if yours is plastic, this thing should be easily unloosened, you know. And again, I wouldn't necessarily say use a pipe wrench for that because you don't want to strip it. You don't want to grip it too tight. You don't want to mess it up to where then it'll be hard to take off again if you need to, or even put back on. And there's usually a little small ring that connects it together. So when you loosen it up, the first part of the U-joint will come down, but it's not going to be detached because if you go to the other part of the U-joint, you got to loosen that ring as well to drop off that little U point to get whatever's stuck down there out. And that's why I indicate if you're going to do this, make sure you grab either a large pan or a bucket of some sort that will fit underneath there because water will fall out. And the water's not going to smell good. I'm going to warn you, especially depends on how long you've been in your house or whatever you have poured down the drain, whatever's going down the drain. I mean, just think about it. Who knows who's been in that bathroom before you lived there? I mean, we are brushing our teeth, we're gargling, all kind of stuff is going down there. So no, that water is not that clean. So this is why some people may want to use gloves, or again, have plenty of soap around to wash your hands afterwards, after you have gotten them all dirty and full of whatever the stuff that was in there that kept your drain clogged. When you plunge in also, you may want to remove the stopper. Now, depending on your bathroom, like I say, all bathrooms and sinks are different. There's usually a little plastic thing that when there's some kind of knob or button that you pull up to make the stopper goes down if it's made into it. And you can also press down on the back of your bathroom sink faucet to lift the stopper up, and that will raise it up for water to be let out. Now, the way to properly remove that, you just got to twist it real hard because it's usually screwed onto there by whatever it's connected to. And that would allow you to pull that stopper out. If it's that kind of one that I'm just describing, then that would help you to plunge a lot easier because you don't have nothing stopping it. Old time sinks may have had these little rubber type stoppers that there is no knob or button to pull up or press down to lower it or close it. You just pull it up by either a chain or some ring finger thing to pull it up to let the water out. So that's my thoughts on how to unclog the bathroom drain sink if something gets trapped. Some of you guys have probably already discovered it. I heard and forgive me if I say the lady or the gentleman because there's a lot of names in here. Some of you I'm hearing for the first time, and I probably don't remember all the names, but someone indicated they have some may use the word concoction where they use vinegar and salt and water or something. Oh,
That
baking
was
soda.
Julie.
That's what it
That was
was.
Julie, George. Julie
Hi,
was
Julie.
vinegar, baking powder, and
And,
what?
and,
Salt.
and
Salt.
salt, exactly. Yeah, I've never thought of that, but that probably work. And yes, I do know about the boiling water. The boiling water does help loosen things up. Make sure that your pipes are screwed on. Well, that the pipes can withstand it, but most of them can. So that boiling water does help not only in the bathroom sink, but it also helps in other drains as well. But I don't have any baking soda, so I'm gonna have to go get some of that. But we do have vinegar, so that's a good thing to have. Any thoughts on what I've discussed? Anything different? Okay, we'll move on because by me being so late, I got a few things to run through, and hopefully I can cover all of this.
Elisa and Porter.
Hey, Lisa. Go ahead, Elisa. Elisa, you had a
I
thought
think she
or
was
question?
just saying hello. I think she was just saying
Oh,
hello.
okay. Okay. Hello, Lisa.
This
Now,
is Vincent.
hey, Vincent.
Just a comment on the plunger. Plastic and wooden handles. I got for some reason some time ago, or I think I couldn't find a regular plunger, so I got one with a plastic handle. And when I was putting pressure, I had a big clog in the kitchen sink. It actually broke. And I gashed my hand with it. So I strongly suggest to use it. May be more money, the wooden handle, but it's worth it.
Okay, great idea. Good idea. I want to briefly talk about the faucets. Now, faucets, this is one of those things that I say is going to be kind of challenging because not every bathroom hot and cold faucet are made the same. Some are set up to where you just pull up a handle and you shove the little handle to the left or to the right to where if you want it to be whatever temperature you want the water to be. So, and then you have other faucets like I have that you have a knob that you turn, a knob for the hot and knob for the cold. Some faucets have the hot on the right and the cold on the left, and some may be the other way around. The cold on the right and the hot on the left. But most of them are labeled with the letter C on top or for cold and the letter H on top for hot. It is in print, not in Braille. I have yet to see a Braille label faucet. I don't even have my own, nor I even worried about even trying to get it that way because it's just two choices. I don't really need to put a Braille label on there. I actually can even feel the tactile marking of the H or the C that's marked. Now, I'm mentioning faucets and how they made different. In a way, if you get to a point where you turn it off your faucet, but they don't go off all the way. This is that annoying thing called a leaky faucet. You know, we got the drop that can be annoying to hear when you're trying to fall asleep at night, or if it just doesn't shut off all the way. And the one way that myself explained that I've learned to fix it is on most of the faucets that I have, there's a little round circle in the middle. Within that round circle is where you may find the label to let you know which one is hot and which one is cold. Or you can just do by process of elimination. Turn one, and if it doesn't get hot, that means that's the cold. Turn the other one, and if it does get hot, you know, at a short amount of time, then you know that's the hot. But within the little round circle is a little plastic that you can lift up either with a, yes, Elisa? You saying hi again?
But don't some faucets have the thing where they, like the little thing goes up and down?
Yeah, that's what I missed to mention. Not all faucets are the same. I'm only describing the ones that I'm familiar with and have explored with, because some faucets, you're right, just have the thing that go up and down. It's in the middle, and you can move it to the left or to the right to determine if you want to get it cold or hot. Well, right now I'm speaking of the ones where you have two, a left knob and a right knob, not the one that's in the middle. And if you lift that little circle up, this is where you will find like a little screw, where you probably would need a Phillips screwdriver. And when you use a Phillips screwdriver, if you turn that screw, that helps tighten it up to where your faucet is not leaking anymore. Now, if you have one of those faucets like I was talking about earlier, or like what Elisa just mentioned, and if that happens to be leaking, I cannot provide you with any instructions on how to repair that because I haven't had that one of my own that I can do some exploring. I'm almost certain it has something to do with probably using the screwdriver and probably finding a little bitty hole to loosen something to tighten that if they all kind of are made like that. But from my experience and the knowledge I can provide, that if you do have the two different faucets, they probably definitely will have the little circle in the middle that does lift up, that you can use something real flat to help lift it up, whether it be a butter knife, a hard fingernail file, or if you're not trying to worry about your manicure, if you got strong nails, use your thumbnail and your index finger and lift it up that way. Some kind of way to get that up to get to the little screw that I am speaking of. Let's do a quick poll. No, not gonna have time to do that. I was about to say, who all have the type of faucet I'm talking about, where you have a left and a right, or do you have just the one that pulls up? Let me apologize to you who do have just the one. I don't have one of those. I've been in hotels that do have that, but I'm never in there long enough that I'm going to probably encounter a leaky faucet that I need to explore to attempt to repair it on my own. And by the way, if it does, I can always call front desk, and if there's bad faucet, and if they're not sold out, I can request that they change rooms. So that's the luxury of having the staying in the hotel and not at home. So we've talked about the drains, the pipes, how to fix a leaky faucet. Now I'm going to how to unclog a sink in a bathroom. So let's get to that bathtub. Bathtubs, kind of like the kitchen sinks, also are not universal. They can be made different. They also are made, and usually your bathrooms will follow the same procedure as the kitchen sink, meaning you will have a left knob and a right knob for hot and cold water. And, excuse me, or you have something like Elisa was talking about that you pull up to adjust the temperature of the water by going to the left or to the right. Some may have a pull-out knob, was a single knob that in order to adjust the temperature, you would twist it either to the left for cold or to the right for hot, or put in the middle if you want to, have it warm, or adjust it accordingly, whatever temperature you want your water to be. But this one pulls out, and you just twist it that way to adjust the temperature. Now, if you happen to it also would have some bathtubs will have the stopper to where it is either made into the tub where there's a lever underneath the faucet that you will flip up or down to either close it or open it. Some will have like a little rubber stopper that you can put in there to, if you're filling up a bathtub, if you want to do the relaxing thing and take a bath and not take a shower. And others will have a knob that's on the little part where the water comes out that you will pull up if your bathtub happens to include a shower, which I think is about pretty much all of the bathrooms today. You probably rarely, unless your house is extremely ancient and hasn't been remodeled, that you're going to find a bathtub where there is no shower along in it as well. And even those that have that, some people go and buy these handheld, where it's like a thing you will put on a wall and you can pull it up, and that way you hold it by hand. How you're going to want the water to fall on you. Now, to unclog the bathtub, we're going to do unclogging as well as the leaky faucet as well. To unclog the bathtub, it's kind of the same mechanism, or almost the same as unclogging the sink, except you're not going to be messing with any U-joints. At least I haven't seen it, and I'm sure you'll probably have that, but I haven't been back there enough. This is where contract plumbing type work, if they have to go into the wall where most of your bathtub pipes are. But if your bathtub happens to get filled up with hairs that happen to clog up a bathtub sink, this is where you will use the plunger. At least I would, and the plunger mechanism, or most you would do is, like we was talking earlier with Vincent, is he had the little rubber thing with the wooden stick, very good one. And you will make sure that your stopper is up so the water will be falling out, and then you will plunge real hard, and for the most part the water will go down. It's kind of like you help forcing it, whatever is stopping the water in the bathtub up, to go down into the main trap. And you may have to do this about 3 or 4 or 5 times until you notice your water is flowing down freely like it normally does. Now, if that's not working, this is where your hands probably have to get dirty again. You probably are going to pull that stopper up, or pull the little drain up, reach down in there. And if there's a lot of hair built up, you probably have to just pull that stuff out by hand. I've had to do that to where, all kind of, and hair falls down there from people washing their hair. If you got a lot of hair, it falls out. That happens. Nothing. This just doesn't that happen. Yes, humans do shed too, like dogs do, so to speak. And so hair builds up. So you may have to pull it out by hand to help that water to flow down freely as well. It's a dirty job. It's a messy job. So it happens. But that's one way of unclogging the bathtub drain. You may have to just plunge it out and have to remove the stopper, remove the drain to get that the water to flow freely. Any thoughts on unclogging a bathtub? I have a few moments to do that right now. A couple of moments. If anybody wants to come off mute and say something about this.
This is Ed.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. The one thing that I might add is that if you can get underneath your tub, like if you got access to the bottom of, like underneath the tub, on the bottom of that drain, there's a clean out plug, which you can take off with a wrench and clean out the bottom of the drain that way. And another access hole to get down in there with a wire is if you take the overflow cover off your bathtub, which is the chrome thing. It's a little round thing that has held onto the side of right under the tap. Take 2 screws out and you can access the drain that way also.
That's correct. That's correct. And I
So-
think those screws usually take a flathead screwdriver. At least most of the ones.
Yeah, it's usually flathead. Yeah.
If anybody don't know, the difference between a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver, the flathead screwdriver is flat. Well, like I said, it's flat. It goes straight up and down. Whereas a Phillips screwdriver has like 4 points that meet at the middle for one single point. That's the difference between the two.
This is Janet. They call that the star.
The star, okay.
Or
Again, remember,
Phillips.
Phillips, yep.
Yeah.
So that's almost probably going to be the stretch of my technical terms here today. Okay, now, if you happen to have one of those faucets, and this has happened with me, I had a bathroom faucet, kind of like what I described, where you have to pull the knob out and twist left or right for how you're going to adjust the water going into the tub or into your shower. And at one time, it had a lot of wear and tear that even if we shoved it in, the water would not go completely off. Not only is that an annoying noise to hear, but you also are putting a lot of making your water bill go high because of a leaking faucet. Now that's going to be a process of getting that to stop, because not only do you have to take off the cover of the knob that you're pulling out, you're going to have to use a Phillips screwdriver to unloosen that knob that's in the middle so that the entire knob can come off, and so that you can pull off the round thing. I'm saying round thing because, again, I don't know the term, the proper technical term for it, but it's a thing that's in where the faucet was at, that you pushing in and out. It's a little round tub that goes from the faucet to like the wall. That's going to help loosen that part. When you take off the nut that you're using to turn your water on and off, you're going to need to remove that. Now, here's another thing that you're going to need to do too. You're going to have to, some bathrooms have what they call cutoff valves. Cutoff valves are like how you can stop the supply of water, if you need to, from going into whatever source you needing water to fall into. If your bathtub does not have one that's local, in the local area where you're at, then you may have to go and turn off the main shutoff valve, which will stop the water throughout the entire house or apartment that you're living in. Because when you pull off this thing, water is going to gush out. So you may have to do this particular process before even start disassembling that knob to get to the little round pipe that I'm speaking of that was beyond the knob, so that you can pull that pipe out to replace it. Because what has probably allowed that particular faucet to start leaking is probably wear and tear. The little flat rubber foam or something that helps stop the water from flowing may have gotten worn out, and that you may have to replace this little round pipe. And this part is actually sold at any of your Home Depot stores or whatever hardware stores you can get parts from. It's probably about the size of maybe a half an inch in diameter. It's not that big at all. This is where the water is pouring through. And I'm one of those. I will examine everything. If I need to go and replace something, not under the proper term of it, I will either take a picture of it with my phone or look at my faucet real good and talk to the salespeople or the parts person to give them enough description as to what I'm looking for to help repair it. And for the most part, especially if they are familiar with a lot of their products, they will know exactly what you're talking about.
George?
Yes.
This is Ned. I think
This is
they
Ned.
call that little round thing a washer. That's the term that I remember being called, a washer, that little rubber thing that goes in your faucet.
Okay. Yes. I think that is it. Now, you do have the washer, but I'm talking about the little thing that the washer goes around. What do you call that little pipe?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just talking about the little rubber thing that you got to
Yeah,
replace because
yeah,
the
the little
washer
rubber
gets
thing,
worn
you-
out,
you-
and that's why the water leaks.
Yeah, exactly. You do call it a washer, but there's one time I did have to replace that little round pipe. Go ahead. Who's that?
This
Go ahead,
is
Michael.
Dee.
Oh, all right, go D and then Michael.
Okay, like I said, this is Ralphine. I think you're talking about the cartridge.
I'm not sure.
It's kind of like a
haven't.
tube, and the water, the part that turns is kind of almost like a little square thing on the end of it. But then
Okay,
it's a
no,
round tube.
that's not what I'm talking about either. This is like a little round pipe that
Yeah,
if you have one of those pull-out knobs, it's in there.
That's what I'm talking
And-
about, that pipe that you pull
Okay.
out.
Right, right. Okay. I don't know.
Then
Okay, it was a
there's a
cartridge.
square thing on the end of it, kind of that your knob fits over.
Correct.
And that's what
You-
turns it. Yeah.
Correct.
That's
Okay,
called a-
yeah, we're on
That's called a cartridge.
the same page. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say basically same thing. Yes, some people call it a cartridge, some people call it a faucet stem for that piece that you're talking about.
Exactly.
And then the little rubber gasket it's that washer looking thing that, it provides a seal so that the water doesn't leak from the stem up into the faucet handle. So when you do the shut off, and yeah, you can, like you were saying, you can tighten it up periodically until that gasket wears out. But eventually that rubber big gasket, you keep screwing down on it too much, then you're going to wear it out and flatten it out. So it won't work anymore.
Exactly. And again, guys, I've learned all this not only from trial and error, but just asking enough people who also were blind like myself, who knew exactly how to describe things to me as to what I'm looking for. So that's how, and I'm grateful that I had that experience because, sometimes, well, for me, I'm adventurous. I like repairing stuff. I was a boy who always got his fingers into places where they probably shouldn't have been. And people probably say, hey, you got no business touching it. Well, I'm glad I did, because now it helps me to know what I need to look for to get that fix.
Because,
comment?
Go ahead.
I'm just giving you a time check at 7:15. That's all.
Okay.
Ed, comment?
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that a lot of those cartridges and things that you use that will stop the leaking, if it's, say, a Peerless or a Moen tap assembly, a lot of those have a lifetime warranty on them. And if you contact the supplier, the manufacturer, they will send you a kit that will repair that. And there's usually no charge on those parts. At least that's what I've experienced. I've done that with bathroom sinks or bathroom taps, and I've also done it with kitchen taps. Now, the process of replacing the parts on it might be a little confusing, especially if you've never done it before and you're totally blind. But if you have somebody that can read the instructions to you and you work away at it, you might need a screwdriver and an adjustable wrench or an adjustable pair of pliers. But there are also rubber rings around your single taps that should be replaced too. Depends if it's just dripping out of the tap, then it's the little round disc on the bottom. But if it's leaking around the tap onto the counter, then it's those rubber rings that are worn out.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And that can happen, ladies and gentlemen, just because, nothing lasts forever, especially if you're using it a lot. And we do use our faucets a lot. Excuse me. I should have got me some water, but I haven't. That's all right. I'll be okay. Now, if anybody wants me to discuss shower heads, let me apologize to you. Oh, before I even get into that. Now, this is things that I have explored that allow me to be able to fix some things on my own. If this is something that you really find a bit intimidating, I highly recommend, yes, call either if you have a plumber that you have, or somebody who knows your house. That's a good thing too. If you own the place or you've been there for a while, kind of like having a mechanic for your car or a contractor, somebody who knows your place and they know exactly where they go at. And it'd be somebody that you trust, that they're not going to really cause any more harm to whatever being fixed. So, if you find it challenging, yes, by all means, if you need to call somebody to do that, I recommend that you go ahead and do that. Now, what I was going to say about shower heads, replacing them or putting them in, I've never done it. So unfortunately, I can't present anything to you, tips on how to do that. I haven't had a shower head to really break on me that I needed to. I just know how to adjust the nozzle as to how I wanted to spray in that. So if we don't have any discussions or topics on shower heads, I'm going to move over to
Michael?
the toilet. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, the shower heads are pretty simple too. That's just a kind of a screw-on thing. Sometimes you may need a little adjustable pliers or something to
Mhm.
help you unscrew it if it's, kind of frozen on there, rusted or whatever. What I was going to also mention though, some other little plumbing kind of things. Talking about the shower head and really faucet, where the water comes out of the faucet on not all of them, but certain ones, you're going to, your water has sediment in it and so deposits of calcium and some other kinds of buildup. And so those shower heads will, get clogged up and you probably notice your shower, this different sprayer pieces on the shower aren't working anymore. And sometimes you may have to take the shower head off. Sometimes you can just rub your hand around on the little rubber tips of the shower head and that'll clean it off good enough to clear it out. But sometimes you may have to unscrew it and just put it in some, oh gosh, I forget what, there may be a concoction, but there is a commercial product that you can also use. But
This is Julie.
probably
ahead,
that
Julie.
apple, the cider and baking soda works. for
Apple
that.
cider vinegar.
Yeah, I soak mine in vinegar
Yeah,
overnight,
vinegar.
and it takes all that lime deposit out. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
They,
yeah, the
they
lime
have
and calcium.
they have a product called CLR for taking
CLR,
that
that
out
was the
too.
one. Yeah, that was the one
Yeah.
I was thinking, the commercial one.
Right.
But
Mm,
on
yeah.
some drains also, you may have a little screw on, kind of a netting to
Mhm.
catch it, little bits of sediment, and you'll notice the spray coming out of your faucet is, maybe shooting at an angle or something like that.
Mhm.
And again, just unscrew that little head and kind of clean out that screen a little bit, and that should clear it up and give you a nice flow.
Okay. That sounds good. I'm actually going to do that because, I'm in the apartment I live in right now. It's an old building. I think they built these like in 77. And I think that might mean just what you said. I mean, they have to clear it out. Besides just, I may ask them to replace the shower head, but sometimes it may take them a while to do that. But I think that actually would help. Somebody else was asking to speak before we start talking about toilets. Go ahead.
This is Richard. The shower heads, if it's really actually not too bad, where it's like a little clogged and it's not too bad, if you have old toothbrushes laying around, just give it a quick scrub with a toothbrush.
Mm-hmm.
And if just make sure you're not going to use that toothbrush. Just
Absolutely.
an old toothbrush, and I keep a lot of stuff like that handy because I used to work maintenance, so. Just give it a quick scrub and if it's not too bad, because if it's too clogged and it's really just coming out with no water pressure, cleaning it's okay to do, but eventually you're going to have to change it because it's just getting too clogged, and it's just saying that the shower head itself has pretty much had it too. So old toothbrushes, if it's not too clogged, just scrub the head down and you're good to go.
This is
Remember,
Julie.
throw that toothbrush away. Go ahead, Julie.
Yes, I unscrew the ends of my faucets, all of them periodically, and soak them overnight in vinegar. And in the morning, I just go over them with a toothbrush like they're talking about, and it's good as new.
How often, Michael, Julie, would you guys say you would do that? Clearing out those heads. Like how frequently?
Maybe I would soak the thing maybe every 3 months. I would unscrew it when I feel the calcium building up at the end of the faucet. You can feel it. It's like lime deposit. You can feel it on there, and I just unscrew it and stick it in a glass with vinegar overnight. In the morning, it's like new, and then you just brush it a little with a toothbrush and screw it back on. I do that with a shower head as well, and also the little tip of the bathroom sink. Unscrew that tip of the faucet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and stick that in a thing. It just keeps it running good, and it's cheap. It's vinegar. It doesn't cost much.
Yeah, just vinegar.
Yes, because the CLRs, the chemicals, I try to stay away from that kind of stuff. I don't like the smell and it's pretty pokey. Yeah, it's gross.
Okay, let's talk about toilets. Boy, what a, never mind. Someone had mentioned, I don't know who it was, about changing the toilet seat. Who was that? Because I'm about to talk about that. I was glad that was mentioned.
That
Well,
was
somebody,
Abby.
okay. I've changed lots of toilet seats, so I'm pretty well versed on how to do this. Toilet seats, no matter, now they are, for the most part, are universally made. The plastic ones, the real heavy, hard ones, the cushion ones, all of them are going to have 2 bolts and screws that connects the toilet seat to the toilet. Only 2. And now again, I don't have no technical terms, so just bear with me. They got one part that's a bolt, so it looks like a boat, except it's plastic. You have the little round thing that you screw onto to help hold the toilet seat in place. And that's on both sides, only 2 of them. Now, most toilet seats have the little, the top part of it is usually has a cover, and you need to lift that cover up by using, maybe a file, a fingernail, a butter knife, whatever it is, to lift it up so you can get to the top part of this boat. And depending on the toilet seat, you may have to use either, here's what I use. I use a flathead screwdriver. Yeah, there will be a flathead screwdriver. And I also will probably use either a pair of pliers or something so that I can hold the boat in place while I loosen up the little round thing that's help holding the toilet seat onto the toilet. The round thing is underneath the actual toilet seat itself. Because the top part of you, like if you put your lid down, the top lid down, and you lift up that piece of cover, that'll tell you where you can get to the top of that boat. Underneath it, on the other side, until like going from the floor to up to where you're underneath the little indentation part to where the boat is at, is a little round thing that you need to unscrew. And it's usually have like a little flat thing that sticks out that help you to kind of like grip it so you can twist it. And what I've done is I may take like a flathead screwdriver, hold it on top, or I'll take some pair of pliers and grip them around the bottom part of the boat. Hold on, I'm thinking out loud here. Oh, I got it. I'm going to take my thumb and index finger around that flat thing that's going around the boat that you screw it onto the boat to hold the seat in place. And when I say boat, you know, nuts and bolts, I guess I can call it a nut. But it's not exactly the 6-sided like little nut that goes around the boat. This one is actually round, or it can be square. But when it's going around the actual bolt that you're taking it up, that part is round. And the reason I may have the flathead screwdriver, just so that when I'm twisting this, I don't want the whole thing to turn, because the main objective is to get this little nut part to come all the way down, to screw it all the way down enough around the threads of the bolt so they will come all the way off. And you have to do it on both sides. And once you get it all the way off, it may take a while because there are a lot of threads on this boat that hold that in place. That would help you to get the seat off. And then, as you notice, when you're putting on the new toilet seat, it's going to have the same thing that your old seat had. It depends on what type of seat you have, whether it's a nice, comfortable, cushy seats or light plastic or the hard plastic. And you got to make sure that you don't want to, if you're using like me, you're using the flathead screwdriver to twist that bolt that is going around that nut. You don't want to twist it off because you don't want to strip it. Even when you're putting it on, you want to try to get it as tight as you can so that seat will be held in place. And what I do, especially if I'm putting on a new seat, is you can the back of the toilet seat, where the little flat thing that I told you that you have to lift up, has a little hole on the inside that you will line up with a little round hole that's on the back of the toilet where the seat goes. You line those up together, line them both up, so that when you stick in the bolt on both sides, that will help kind of like hold the seat in place too. And then with one thing at a time, you can twist the little bolt as tight as you can get it with your hand and finger till it gets to the top. Then you will take like the flathead screwdriver and twist the opposite way. Like the nut that you tightened up on the bolt, you're probably going to turn it clockwise or counterclockwise. And then when you want to make it tight, you do just the opposite, because you want to get it as tight as you can without stripping the little flathead holes that you're sticking your flathead screwdriver into while you're doing the twisting motion of the bolt. Of the nut around that particular bolt. And you have to do this on both sides. And that's how you pretty much change the toilet seat. I got a feeling that, or did any of this make sense, what I just said? I know I'm using probably terms you never heard of before, but the bolt is like a little long screw that goes through the hole of the toilet seat, as well as a hole in the toilet that's in the back, to help hold the seat in place. There's one on each side, one on the left and one on the right. Has anyone done an exploring and have seen this before? Or nobody have any idea that this was back there? You just know you set down, the seat doesn't move.
Yes, I've tried to tighten that before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So that's how you change that. And of course, if you change it in an old toilet seat, I guess it goes without saying, you may want to do some wiping down, clean it off. What if you're using Comet Cleanser, or if you're using Pine Sol, if you're using Fabuloso, whatever it is. It's a good, because dirt and all kind of stuff build up back there too, that you want to wipe that down.
This is Dan with a question.
Go ahead.
When you buy a new toilet seat, let's say from Home Depot, do the new toilet seats have that little assembly that you're talking about, so that you can just put it in?
Yes, they do. I've bought
That's what I thought.
toilets,
Okay.
like you say, Home Depot. I've bought them from Walmart. Bought them. That's not a word. I have bought them from Walmart. Wherever you can buy toilet seats at, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, whatever. Yeah, they do come with it. It'd be like in a little cardboard box that when you tear out it open, you will see it in a little package. It'd be one for the left and one for the right.
Right. Good. Okay. Thank you. Good.
Somebody else had another question?
Ed, comment?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I replaced my toilet seat. I got it from Home Depot, and it came with like the bolts were literally molded to the top part. All you did was drop it through, and it had a large plastic wing nut on the bottom.
Mhm.
And they just put it on by hand and tighten it up, and being Bob's your uncle, it was done.
Mhm.
Very easy to do, and they have little levers on either side at the back. You can just hit the levers, and it'll quick release the toilet lid and seat for cleaning. So it makes it really convenient too. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has anybody ever done an exploring on your toilet tank? And ever been afraid to, well, all of us not 8, 9 years old anymore. So, and the toilet tank on the inside of that's where the water fills up, after you have flush. Inside most tanks, there may be like a little floating ball, which is a mechanism to know when the tank has filled all the way up, and it will automatically shut off. Then you have some toilets that do not have that ball, and they got like a little small plastic thing. It's some kind of way it's connected to the thing on the left side near where the handle is when you're flushing, if you have one of those handles. that will give it a sensor to let it know when the water has filled all the way up. Nowadays, you have toilet seats that don't have a handle. They got like the two buttons you press on top to press it down to, to flush. And I think on those, you don't have a fluting ball. You have the other thing, which I cannot think even, it's kind of round, it's plastic. And it's basically a level to let how this thing is assembled to let you know when the water is filled all the way up, and then it will turn it off instead of just keep running and running until your tank overflows. That's why the tank never overflows, because there's something in there to let it know when to shut that off.
This is Terry.
Okay.
Isn't that- Oh, I was going to say, isn't that called something like a cylinder float?
Yeah. Okay.
It is a float, and it's kind of a cylinder.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, that's what I'd call it.
Okay.
This
What
is
you about to say?
Terry.
Go ahead, Terry.
I have, and had I known what he was getting at, I would never have allowed him to buy it, but I had a plumber come once, and I think I got a cap to, that goes over a toothbrush stuck in the toilet once, and it clogged it up, and he came and unclogged it, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to get you a really good toilet." And it turned out to be a power flusher toilet, which maybe is good for some things, but those tanks have a cartridge in there, and I was told by a plumber that you shouldn't mess with those if there's a problem. I mean, the cartridge can be replaced, and I did have to have it replaced, and fortunately it was still under warranty. But those kind of toilets, he said, you really should have a plumber look at, and you can't put those tablets in there that are used to try to keep your water clean. It
Correct.
makes the water blue. You shouldn't use those in power flusher.
I don't
tanks
even know
that
how
have
you
the
would you
power
get those.
flushers.
How would you get those tablets in a power flusher? Because it's just a little skinny pipe, at least on the ones I've looked at.
Yeah. Mine is a big thing that takes up the whole inside of the tank.
Okay.
So anyway, but I have, to answer your question, yes, I have looked at the traditional flushers that have the rubber ball and the float. But I don't know how to take those apart.
Neil, did you call? Did you have a comment or a question? I know there's somebody besides Terry and.
Yeah, that was Richard. Me.
Richard,
What you were talking about, the names of what's, excuse the pun, but in what you were talking about, there's several different names for them. One is the floater. It's in the back of the toilet. And then there's another one that's called a flow regulator, so it doesn't overflow. They all do the same thing, and the last one is literally what it is called. It's called a ball cock.
Okay.
Because it's connected to the rod, and it's connected to the handle that you flush with.
Right.
And that's
It's kind of like a little chain.
Right. So when it starts filling up, that ball will reach the top and it'll tip the rod. So that way there it doesn't overflow. So they all do the same thing.
Correct. And you guys, all these things can be replaced. Like if something gets damaged, like if your chain happened to break, or that helps pull up that little floater so the water can go out and fill up your toilet. Whatever, if it gets damaged, they sell a whole kit that you can purchase, and they don't even cost that much. I mean, I think you can get like a kit, because I guess it depends on what toilet you have, but I know there's no more than like $10, because I've had to replace it. And not that difficult to replace either, just as simple as using a pair of pliers to unscrew it and screw that on, the new one back on. And
George?
it's a good idea, if you have to replace that, take your old one, turn up your cutoff valve. Every toilet usually have a cutoff valve that's either on the left or the right side of the toilet underneath the tank, that will stop the flow of water coming into that toilet. So if you need to take that off, you can do that. Bring it into like your Home Depot or your hardware store, so you know exactly what you need to ask for or look for.
This is Sunday. I think Jim has a comment.
Go ahead, Jim.
I think talking about toilet tanks, I think the most problem I've had is with the flapper.
Something getting stuck in it, or it wears out, or it doesn't go all the way down.
Wouldn't seal up, you know, and the toilet would run and run and run, and you didn't. At first, I couldn't figure it out, but it was a bad flapper.
Yeah, the flappers can go bad, and then it could be adjusting to the chain that's attached to the flapper, attached to the handle that you're using to flush it with. Sometimes you have to adjust those by either bending it with your hand or it's kind of way so that it will seal up. Because that can be annoying too, having that thing just run and run and run and not cut off. Sometimes you got to stick your hand in the water to push that flapper down. At least that's what I've done. And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, that water is clean. In the tank, the water is, for the most part, is clean.
It should
I like
be,
sticking it in a bowl.
This is Vincent.
Go ahead, Vincent.
Just to comment on the cutoff valve. I live in a house that is about 50 years old or something, and so a lot of several items have had to be replaced. And one of them, I had a dripping in my toilet, and it wouldn't stop. And I tried to turn off use the cutoff valve, and it was rusted. It would just not turn. So my recommendation is, to check them. You don't have to check them that often, but every year, 2 years, or whatever, to make sure that you can they are actually still usable. I had all my valves replaced, and that's so now I'm comfortable with that. And I also had, when I had the issue with my big drain, I had a cutoff valve installed in the basement, and also something that wouldn't turn. It was a round knob, and it was rusted. It was sealed, but it couldn't be turned. So I had that replaced. So just to keep an eye, especially when your house is old, to make sure that you can still use them and prevent that. And with the toilets, I had them replaced about 8 years ago, more or less. And at a recommendation of a friend of mine who is a plumber, I got the Toto toilets, which were about twice as much as the toilets that you can buy at Home Depot, but they are definitely worth it. Not only are they very economical, they used to have a 1.6 gallon. Now they have 1.2, and I think now they even have a 1.1. So they are very economical in their consumption of water. They flush very, very well. And I don't know how long it will last, but like I said, it's 8 years, and I haven't had to replace or tighten anything.
Okay. All right.
This
Thank you,
is
Richard.
Terry.
What time is it, Sandia? Who else is
It's
calling?
about 7:40. So
Okay.
yeah.
This is Terry.
Go ahead, Terry.
And where I live, we have a lot of lime in our water. And so you periodically need to just move the valves, the water valves back and forth just to loosen that lime, because it's not rust, it's just lime buildup, and it just gets, it's solid, and when it dries, and you just need to move your valve a little to the left and a little to the right, just to make sure that you can turn that valve properly. And I had a plumber once tell me, when you adjust that valve, you shouldn't open it all the way, because if for some reason it should get stuck, then you don't have any way to turn it back and forth. You should open it all the way or close it all the way so that the water can't flow, but then give it about like a quarter of a turn. just so there's some room on both sides, to the left and to the right, so that if you do have to open the valve, you know, to adjust it, you have some play in there to be able to do that.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Good information. How many of us clean our toilets ourselves? Or do you just get someone else to do it?
I do
No.
mine. I use a pumice stone in mine.
Use a what?
Pumice stone.
Plumber stone. Okay.
No, a
Pumice.
pumice. Pumice.
Pumice. Really?
Yes.
All right. Tell me about that.
I get mine at the Dollar Tree, and it's a piece of pumice. It's you gotta wet it. So I stick it in the toilet and wet it first, and then go under the rim and everything, and it makes it like new. Takes all the lime and everything away from inside the toilet.
Now you're saying hummus, like the hummus you eat.
No.
Pumice. P.
P.
The letter
Oh.
P. Pumice.
I thought she said hummus too. So.
Hummus, hummus, pea hummus.
Okay, that makes sense now. All right.
Yes, hummus.
I just want to go to Julie's house. It must be speaking Span, I tell you.
This is Ned.
Yes, Ned.
What is that pumice stone connected to? Is there a handle with that?
No, it's just like a lava stone. It's like a rock. It's like a rock. It's a stone. It's like lava stone. It's very hard, and you stick it in the water. Be sure it's wet. You can also clean oven racks. It'll get everything like new inside the oven, but you've got to be sure this lava stone is wet. If not,
Okay.
it will scratch up your porcelain.
Okay, so you don't use a toilet brush.
Oh, I do that in between.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but if you got, heavy duty lime growth, like that brown
Ugh.
circle that goes and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
That lime deposit that builds up. This pumice will remove all that without any problem at all.
Dollar Tree, huh? Okay, going there
wonderful.
tomorrow.
It's at the, I get it at, my friend actually got it for me at the 99-cent store because the Dollar Tree did not have it. So she picks it up for me at the 99-cent store. Well, now it's $1.25 now?
Yeah, it's called a $1.35 store. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but it's pumice stone. I'm telling you, there's nothing like
Pumice
it.
stone.
Yes, pumice.
Okay.
Yes. And
I
it's,
am.
yeah, it's cheap. And again, I don't like chemicals. Okay. I just hate.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, and it
No, that
burns
makes
your
sense.
skin
You're
and all
not the
this.
first. I've known other
This
folks. who
doesn't
probably-
burn your skin or any of that stuff. It
No,
just
I know people. They don't
cleans.
like the smell of them. They say, it's too potent. They,
And it's-
especially
and
those who got asthma.
Yeah, and it's hard on your breathing. It's hard on your skin. But this pumice stuff, no, it seemed like vinegar and baking soda.
Okay. Because I'm
And
one of
I'm-
those. I use a combination of a little Clorox and some Fabuloso. I said little Clorox because bleach has a very loud smell.
Yeah, I
But if
use
you-
that in my toilet in between. I let it sit in the toilet and then brush it and, it
Correct.
keeps it. Yeah, and that's
Exactly.
in between. But when I need to heavy clean, it's the pumice stone and, there's nothing like it. And it's
Gotcha.
cheap. And it's cheap to use it.
Right, right.
You can clean
Debbie?
your oven with it too. The
Can I
oven.
I want to make a recommendation.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because of some situations, if you have to have your commode replaced, I recommend you get the high profile.
Is that's the name of a toilet?
No, it's the height of the toilet from the floor.
Oh, okay.
It's just unbelievable how much better it is.
Okay. Now,
More
I've
comfortable.
never done that. I've never replaced the toilet because I've heard you got to be careful with that wax ring. If you mess it up, it's a
Yeah.
major problem.
Yeah,
So-
it's not. The plumber did that. He recommended it, and he put me in those Toyos. I think that guy just said something about Toyos. He put 2 Toyos in my house about 10 years ago, and it was the best move I've made in a long time. My wife said.
This is
Does
somebody
that
else's-
make that a throne?
Huh?
Does that make it a throne?
It could be called a throne. Yes.
This is the Iron Throne. Never mind. We was talking about
Never
gaming.
mind.
Porcelain, too.
This is Debbie.
This is Vincent. I'm sorry.
All right, go Debbie, then Vincent.
Yes, I just had a tip. You can use some Effordent. Just put the 2 tablets in overnight and let it soak.
Mm-hmm.
And, it'll really help clean it.
Everything, guys. Let's remember that.
And also in
Oh,
thermoses.
hi.
You can use it in a thermos.
Huh.
I want to
Okay,
say
go ahead.
also something.
Who's that?
This is Erica Pavon. Yes,
Okay.
hello.
All right, hold on,
Um,
Erica. Wait, Erica. Vincent was before you. Go ahead, Vincent.
Oh, I didn't
Well,
press.
2 things. I wash the toilets daily. We use a brush primarily, and then like every, I don't know, 2-3 weeks or something, that I will use a harder substance, something similar to the pumice stone, but it's actually made out of sort of a soft plastic, and I use a little Ajax and just wash around it. But the pumice stone, I'm going to use that. But another use for the pumice stones, and that's what I use it for primarily, is it smooths your elbows, your knees, and your feet. The bottom of your feet, they come out beautiful after you do. And I don't know, it makes me, it takes time, but it's enjoyable.
I think I'll just go get a pedicure.
This is Julie.
Okay. Hold on, Julie. Erica,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes. He just stole my words. I was going to say about our skiing, the pump stone. I used it, and somebody said something about rust. And you know what is good? I don't know. Have you heard about it? It's the Coca-Cola. It does really work and help for cleaning the toilet.
Yeah, it's good for mixing drinks too at happy hour.
So George, we got it's
Oh my
7:50.
God.
10
Okay, go ahead,
minutes.
Julie. Julie, real
We
quick.
already had the ice too.
I was going to say that the pumice, I believe there's a different grade of pumice to use on your skin, because if you're diabetic and you use a harsh pumice on your skin, you could cause health problems to your feet. So you got to be very careful if you're diabetic and you're trying to use a pumice on your skin. If you break your, scratch yourself too much. So you have to stick with the one for beauty care, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, be careful if you're diabetic. That's all.
All right, guys. Real quick, because we got like 8-9 minutes left. I'm about to move to the kitchen, and I'm not going to. The kitchen is pretty much repeating what I already said about the bathroom sink. The kitchen sink is the same way, has a U-joint. You need to unclog that. I want to talk briefly about the garbage disposal. The garbage disposal is, if it happened to, of course, we all know you can't put nothing too solid in the garbage disposal. You got to put mainly just stuff that actually it can ground up. I have, because I'm adventurous, I've stuck my hand in there, of course, with it turned off. And all it is you got two little square things. Some of them are made like a little square cup. Some of them made like little square, I would say like a square marble that turns real fast. And they're connected onto this round circular plate that also spins fast. And by it spinning, it grounds it up and sends it down the drain well. It's almost like making whatever was kind of solid, whatever it's going to be leftover rice or something that you didn't finish, or maybe some fruit or some old food that you need to dispose of that you do not want to put in your garbage can because it'll make your garbage can smell. You can put it down a disposal by scraping whatever, if it's in a pot, you scrape it in your disposal, you run water on it, and then turn on your disposal, and that will help suck that in down there. If your disposal happen to get stuck, because this can happen, where if like a penny falls in there, or maybe a piece of glass or something is broken, this is what I do. You're going to probably, if you got small fingers, reach your hand in there and try to free it from these two things that are on the inside of the round hole, the drain hole where your disposal is, to free it up. Because sometimes if something is split is underneath those two things that spin, it will probably stop it from turning and will cause the disposal not to work. Sometimes depends on how old your disposal is. You may have to grab one of those with 2 fingers and shove it, get it to turn. Because almost like almost like we were talking about the shower head, how things build up. If you are somebody who utilize your disposal a lot, stuff builds up in it too, that it may not work as great as it did when you first started using it. And sometimes, you know, your disposal may get stuck. It may need to be a little oiled a little bit. This is where I would say probably if you live in an apartment, call the maintenance for them to service that, or call the plumber who is experienced so they can probably oil it a little bit so it can turn good. But it's always good if you and listen well too, because sounds can tell you a lot. When you flip that switch for your disposal to come on and you hear something clicking on it, that you're not supposed to hear that. That means something hard is in there that could be affecting the proper use of your disposal, which would not make it work as well. So if you hear that, hurry up and turn your disposal back off, reach in there, see if you can feel anything that's stopping it and pull it out. And, or if you need to shove the disposal, the whole wheel again, you know, sometimes it may take a little good hand strength to get it moving, and that would help as well. But just be careful not to put any solids, no bones, make sure no pennies, no coins, nothing that would help the disposal from working. Disposal can be cleaned as well. You can take like some lemon juice or maybe pour some bleach and go down there and turn it on. That also will help, that it won't have a bad smell as well. And that's all I got on disposals, to keeping that clean, because I think we're probably at 8:56 or something like that. Anybody got any last comment on disposal while the little time that we have left?
Michael?
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I don't know if this still applies, but somebody, or actually a plumber, had told me to put eggshells periodically in the disposal. That kind of helps sharpen up those blades.
Okay, I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that because I've never tried it. I've never heard it. But if a plumber told you, I would assume that he would know. I never heard that before.
So
the
that's one
concept
thing.
sounds good. In theory, that sounds like that was good to help sharpen it. That's a good idea. Because eggshells,
And
you know,
then the
very
other
thin. It
thing,
wouldn't stop it.
sometimes the motor will lock up, and like you said, there could be something inside where you could stick your hand in and try to free it. But sometimes it just hangs up, and on the very bottom in the center of the motor, it's just an Allen wrench, and I forget what size, but you take an Allen wrench, and sometimes a lot of disposals will come with that Allen wrench that fits it, and just, you know, swirl it around a few times, and that'll unlock the motor.
And in case you live somewhere, I heard you that. In case you live somewhere, you probably don't even know you have a disposal. Check your kitchen sink, especially if you have a double sink. The one side that has the rubber in the drain, that's your disposal. Whereas the other side may just have like your stopper. So that's the one that definitely you know that you do have a disposal. Then you need to look for the switch on the back of your wall to know how to turn it on. Go ahead, Ned.
Yeah. Dana.
Oh, Dana. I'm sorry. I thought he said Ned. Go ahead, Dana.
No, the Allen wrench is a 1/4 of an inch. And also I heard somewhere that it's recommended to wear gloves when sticking your hand down in the garbage disposal because it's worse than your toilet sticking your bare hand down in a toilet. No, seriously.
No, he's right. He's right. I'm not going to deny it. It can be kind of gross down there.
Yeah, it's dirtier. Yeah.
Now let's scan for the question for Michael.
Go ahead, Dan.
Where do you stick the Allen wrench in the garbage disposal?
It's on the very bottom. You know, you got to open the cabinet, and underneath where the disposal hangs down, the motor part, and this should be pretty much dead center of that. The motor.
It's a round motor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Should be that round cylinder underneath is your disposal, and then just dead center underneath is where the Allen wrench would go. The Allen screw should be right there.
So
Dana, you said it was what size?
4/7 or inch and a fourth.
Okay,
No.
that doesn't
Go-
sound right. Quarter inch.
Yeah,
that's what he said
inch.
first. Quarter inch.
Quarter inch.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
go ahead, Sandia.
So just want to have a little disclaimer here. Not everybody puts their hands in the drain. Please go out and try and be careful. And, we encourage everybody to be independent. And, this
And
is
be safe.
really, be safe about everything. We don't want anybody to get hurt, but it is empowering. And George, I think you have really shared a lot of good information, and along with everybody else here, because they're all, if we can do it ourselves, of course, we'd like to be able to do it ourselves. So thank you for that, and just be careful,
Michael.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, along with that disclaimer kind of thing, all the views expressed during this last 2 hours are those of the person expressing them and not of iBug. So
Yes. So just be careful, and I think there's a lot of good information here. So, I want to go try the vinegar thing, but also just be careful. I mean, you have to be. There are a lot of different variables here, the types of equipment, how old your house is. One thing might apply, but you don't. If you don't know what you have, then you better be real careful. And you're like, oh well, they said to put the
Exactly.
tablets in there. Well, like Terry Ann said, there's some things you can't put the tablets in. So we don't know what you have or what situation you're in, or if you are, you know what your abilities are. So just be super careful. And, there's also, we can listen to videos on YouTube. There's a lot of good stuff, even though we may not be able to see what they're doing. A lot of times they're talking through it. So if you find a good video, that's another way. And then finally, I found some of these. You can just Google, Amazon search for snake. What was the word? Snake? Oh, I forgot the word now. Whatever. What was it? I
Sink,
searched it.
Sink snake.
Sink
Sink
snake.
snake,
Yeah,
sink snake,
yeah. And
yeah.
there's like a
Sink
ton
snake.
of them. They're like all kinds of things. Long hair, this,
Yeah.
that. So
Not rattlesnake,
not
not boa
rattlesnake.
constrictor.
Sink
Copperhead.
snake. Yeah, you would have
Sink
that. Yeah, so go check it out. There's lots of different things for your sink and other things. So with that, thank
And
you,
listen,
George.
guys, that's why I preface what I said too. These are things that I have to explore because I was adventurous. But again, if it's not something that you're not comfortable doing, don't do it. Hire a professional. And yeah, and every house is different. Know your stuff first before you try things.
There you go.
Yeah, and use the right pumice stone on your foot.
Yeah, and not
And-
hummus.
And don't drink the vinegar and
Yeah,
baking
don't use-
soda.
Don't use
Don't
hummus on your,
forget,
don't
don't
use
forget
hummus
the
in your
ice.
toilet.
Yeah,
Don't use a hummus stone.
Right.
That's right.
Well, I guess the question for Julie was on that stone. Are you holding the hummus stone, or are you you hold it with
It's a
something else?
pumice.
I mean, pumice.
Pumice.
I got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
hello.
But you're holding it, right? That's
Yes,
what
of course. You
Okay.
have to. You can
okay.
wear gloves when you
Uh-huh.
stick this thing in the toilet. Make sure the stone is very, very wet.
Okay.
Wet,
All
And
right.
okay.
then just
Very
use
good,
it.
very
And
good.
oh, you'd be surprised how well it cleans.
Okay, and just also that's another thing. Beware of, like she said, scratching. I mean, all these different chemicals have different reactions. So anyway,
yeah.
just be careful. Go out.
Yeah.
Just be
And,
careful.
Be
and
careful.
don't mix ammonia and Clorox.
Bleach.
Oh,
do
no.
not.
No,
No,
be
no.
careful
Now-
if you're
When do we
using
use the
bleach.
vodka and the gin? When do we
Now
use
you
the
have a
vodka and the
bomb.
gin?
No.
Right now.
Yeah, if you
All
do
right, we're
ammonia and
Season's
Clorox,
Don't
over.
mix
you're making a
vinegar and
bomb.
bleach either.
All right, so thank you
No.
so much. Be careful.
One
And
more question.
okay, there's
Uh-oh.
Dee. No, you
Yeah.
can't get into Clubhouse. No, sorry.
I don't want in
Good
Clubhouse.
night.
I'm afraid I'd have to clean it. Sandhya, how often do you have this meeting?
This is the fourth Thursday of the month. We have different topics, and oh yes, George, are you gonna tell them what we're talking about next month?
Yeah, let's do.
Okay, I guess that was confirmed. Next month, we're gonna, and I got the idea because in New Orleans this weekend, there's a fried chicken festival
Oh boy.
taking place
Oh.
on Saturday. So no, we're not gonna only be talking about fried chicken. We're gonna talk about different ways to prepare chicken. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start practicing some stuff over the month so I can have some good
I'll come
material.
over. I'll come over and sample
Okay.
it.
Sure,
Okay.
come on
All
over.
right. Thank you, George.
I'll be
We're
right
having a
over.
chicken festival next month.
Chicken festival. All right.
All
So guys,
right.
that'll be it's the
Good.
fourth Thursday of the month.
I think
Okay,
that's
guys?
the 28th.
All
Okay.
right.
No, that's the
So-
27th. 27th.
26.
Yes, and don't forget, everybody, that the ice cube for cube of ice is very good for cleaning the garbage disposal.
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
I heard that
Erica. Thank
too.
you, everybody, for all their good ideas, and we will
And
see you guys.
Saturday is iBug
iBug
Unplugged.
Unplugged, talking about what's on your bucket list. Tomorrow is Seven, the movie, audio described.
That's
It'll be
a
pretty
good movie.
suspenseful movie, so come and
Oh.
join us. And,
Okay.
What
part
what
of
is
the
about
joke.
Saturday? What is Saturday? I haven't been
Saturday
there.
is iBug Unplugged. We're going to be just a discussion among iBug members talking about what is on your bucket list, things that you want to do before you die. so think
Oh.
about
And that's
all
at,
the
that's
I'm
at
part of
8,
the
that's
joke.
8 o'clock Central Time, right?
8 Central, all time Central, everything's here on Zoom. Okay, guys? So
Yeah.
see
Good night.
y'all. Good night. Thank you, George.
Thanks for coming, guys. You guys were a great
Thank
audience.
you, everybody.
This was fun.
Night, thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Mr. McCall,
We're-
you need to. end.
We're lovingly.
Somebody go
ending
flush your
this round
toilet. That'd
in
be our closing
Go
out.
go flush the toilet.
4, 3,
Bye.
2, 1.
Lift